Good morning and welcome to the second English lesson of the week. Today we're going to focus on planning our story. We're going to build on yesterday's work of writing speech effectively, in which we thought about some of the characters and potential wishes we might use. So as we have done for most of this unit, we're going to start with the warm-up of just retelling the story. Now I will repeat again, it's important to try and learn this story so we learn the structure of the wishing tale, so that we learn some new key vocabulary and we might include some sentence structure. Again, we're just going to think how much of the story you can remember. Can you remember it all? And remember, you don't have to remember word for word, it's just can you remember all the events and can you sequence it? Pause the video, give it a go now. Excellent, so hopefully you're all giving that a go and hopefully you have all remembered more than you did yesterday. Remember, you can look back at the text to help you if you need to. But now we're going to move forward and we're going to think about our own wishing tale. So what ideas could you use in your story? So we need to decide what happens in our wishing story. So in the story written in the booklet, the wish arrived in the form of a lucky scratch card or a golden ticket as such. Now, some objects that have been used in other stories before, you might have seen a magic lamp, a shooting star, a wishing well, and it got me thinking. You might want to change the object of your wish. You could choose something else. So a magic lamp, a wishbone, a wishing well, a shooting star is a very common one, but also blown out candles on a birthday cake. Because if you're like my family and you've always been told make a wish when you blow out the candles, and luckily I don't think any of those wishes have come true. After reading that last story, I wouldn't want to see what the consequence was. So now what we need to think about is what might happen in our story. So we might want to pick an interesting object that we've just looked for and think about how it might arrive and how it could link to a setting and different characters. We want to have two characters who are different. One could be cautious, or one could ignore the warning and be more adventurous. And that could cause something else to happen that they did not expect. Just remember, be careful what you wish for. And that's almost the message of this story. Now think about the mood or the atmosphere. How can you make the weather reflect the bad news that is coming? So I've got some ideas. You might have siblings argue on a birthday. One wishes the other hadn't been born, blows out the candles, wakes up, and there is no trace of the other sibling. The photographs around the house no longer have pictures of the sibling in it. When asking parents about it, they don't remember the sibling, because I think that would be quite upsetting. You could also do two school children. One wishes that there was no such thing as school. Now this sounds pretty good, but once they get home, they are told what their jobs will be and that they will have to work every day. Because if they aren't going to school, they will have to work to earn a living and learn a trade or a skill. You might do two school children. One wishes to be a professional footballer. They have to move, so they make their wish. That could be on a magic scratch card, or they find an old lamp on the stage at school. They rub it and they make the wish. But as part of the consequence of being a professional footballer is the child has to move away from their family and friends to play for the football club that they are signed to. It may go even worse. They might never actually get to play football. They might be a professional footballer, but they may always just be on the bench. It might be a family going on a trip out. It starts raining and a storm comes. One of the family makes a wish in the wishing well that it would never rain again. Now the storm disappears. But then day after day, as there's no rain, flowers start to die, crops start to fail, no food's being grown, and everyone's just overheating. There's drought, so there's no water. So that would be a pretty big consequence. So they are some of the ideas I thought of. And you're now going to think of your own ideas. And the way you're going to get them down is you're going to put them into one of the planning frames. Now, in your booklet, you had a planning frame like the one on the left, which is one that says the underlying story pattern, which links very closely to one chance. Now, in here, you're going to plan what is going to happen in your story for each of these sections. So your main characters are safe, maybe in a comfortable setting such as a school or their home or a friend's house. An object arrives which is too good to be true, or they stumble across an object that's too good to be true. One character warns the other against making a wish, but the other character ignores it and makes the wish anyway, but nothing happens. Well, yet. Then, in the next section, you're going to think about the wish coming true, but unfortunately, there are consequences. What are those consequences? And then finally, the character wants to use another wish to put things right, but the object has disappeared. Now, I've done an additional plan and frame, which could be used instead, in which I've said main characters are in a safe setting. One is dreaming of change. An object arrives, or they find something that they can use to make a wish. One character warns the other to be careful what they wish for. The character ignores them and makes the wish, but nothing happens yet. The wish comes true, but it goes wrong. There are consequences to the wish. Then the character wants to use a wish to return it to normal, but the object is gone. So it's very similar to the first one. It just breaks it down into a 6 box. So remember, in each box you're going to think of your own ideas. You're going to think about your own characters, where they start. We could use what we did last week on Friday to look at how we create mood. So the setting they're in is warm, peaceful, cozy. They don't realise the whole life is about to change. Whereas outside, the weather knows something is going to happen, that the world's going to change. Then we move on to finding the object, or an object arrives. And it's just going to progress on like the story. Now, if you're struggling for ideas, in the Talk 4 item book that you have, at the bottom of the page, you will see 2 links towards different wishing stories. You could read those to generate ideas. Practice a few ideas and write a few ideas down on just a bit of scrap paper before you start planning it in the boxes, because taking your first idea is never normally the best. You need to think about it, refine it, think how you can make it better, and make sure it's going to work before actually writing it down. But as soon as you've written it down, that's the end of this lesson. And then for the rest of the week, we're going to look at writing our own story. So thank you. I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to seeing some of your plans and some of your stories as the week goes on. Thank you very much.